As the world marks the holiday honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his legacy is being celebrated and remembered. But it's also clear the fight for equality is not over. WRTV's Cameron Riddle has perspective from a Central Indiana scholar who leads a college named after Dr. King.
Nearly 53 years after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the issues he died fighting for are as relevant today as they were in 1968.
If you think about it, the Civil Rights Act passed in 1964. And from 1964 to his death in 1968, we saw some of the worst racial violence in this country. Exactly what we see with George Floyd and others who were unjustly murdered and who lost their lives.
Dr. Sean Huddleston is the president of Martin University in Indianapolis, a predominantly black institution named after Dr. King, who was killed at 39 years old. If King were alive today, Huddleston says he would be in part happy to see how far the nation has come, electing the country's first black president and vice president, and to see the leader of King's legendary church, Reverend Raphael Warnock, elected to represent Georgia in the Senate. But Huddleston believes King, who would be 92 years old, would say there is much more work to do.
We've achieved certain aspects of what he dreamed of, but the fact that black men and women still have to fear for their lives at times when they are stopped by law enforcement, we have not arrived there yet. Quite honestly, I don't think he'd be very surprised at the uproar and the discord and the continued hate that is so overt. And quite frankly, the continued oppression and attempts at inequity and injustice and inequality that are still alive and well.
Huddleston says disparities prevalent in the 1960s continue to disproportionately impact black Americans today. It's a topic Martin University is focused on this year, monitoring its graduates to ensure they are successful and treated fairly in the workplace after they are hired at a job. It's the same and final issue Dr. King was fighting for the week he was killed.
We want to help ensure, I should say, that at some point they'll have an opportunity to be promoted or they'll have an opportunity to progress in their career. And if organizations, businesses, corporations don't have strategies that allow for that progression and are intentional, then it won't happen. And so we want to help them.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.